I watched both Stranger Things and Marty Supreme in the same week. I also finished Welcome to Derry before both of those. So all three of those experiences. And it was a roller coaster. Welcome to Derry was incredible. It was a very interesting, a very good look into the story of it. I heard it was good from, friends, from the internet, and I was like, okay, let me check it out. And it did not disappoint. Usually when I'm watching shows, I like nitpick this, nitpick that because it just feels so unreal. Like I can stretch my imagination. I can, suspend the disbelief or whatever you say. Um, but sometimes shows are so bad to where I can't even like pretend to cope for it. And Stranger Things is one of those shows. Stranger Things season 5 is having a colossal failure, a colossal letdown. Um I watched Stranger Things from all the way since the beginning, right? Season 1, season 2, both pretty great. It's why the series have so much hype. I liked how serious, how gritty, how different it was. I was looking at some old videos of Stranger Things season 1 because it had such a different vibe, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't misremembering things. But no, that vibe that was there, that vibe that you remember, is exactly what the show was. And with season 3, they really changed things in a whole different direction. They tried to make it like funny. This is when the show really started to explode in popularity. And whenever something gets really popular, it changes. And the boys was the same exact way. Season 1 boys was fire. Season 2, decent. Season 3 and wherever they're at now, it's just like mediocre. It's just too big. The corporations get involved, the executives get involved. Now you got to start doing this, now you got to start doing that. And it just gets watered down. Stranger Things is a victim of that like crazy. And it's shocking because season 4 was really great. Season 4 reinvigorated everyone when season 3 let us down. So for them to basically drop the ball again in season 5, it's absurd. And then also, like I said, I watched Marty Supreme right after. I heard very good things about that. Timothy Chalamet, I think, is a great actor. Once his career is over, many, 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 many years from now, I think he will be a legendary actor, like a Leonardo DiCaprio type, like a Tom Hanks, or he's going to be one of those names you remember, right? I like his journey. I'm happy that we can see his movies come out like, movie by movie by movie, and you could just watch the growth because the Dunes is when he really like popped up on my radar. Dune 1, kind of boring. I still liked it a lot, but I'm more so willing to have this slow burn of a story, really engulf myself in the world. Dune 2 was great. They tackled a lot of the issues that Dune 1 was plagued by, right? Mostly being boring. But then when you talk about his next movie, well, the next movie that I seen from him is the Great Unknown. What is it? The Complete Unknown. What is it? I'm forgetting the name of it. Regardless, it was about Bob Dylan, and it was a phenomenal show. It was a phenomenal movie. I realized something after watching that. After watching the movie about the guy who made the nukes, I don't know why all of these names are slipping my mind, but after watching these just really cool, like biopic, like following one person, one narrative, it's a story, it's a journey. We have something we want to tell. After watching some of these movies, it made me really, really, really bored of some of the boring stuff. Gen V, Stranger Things, it's just Hollywood slop. Marty Supreme is like probably will be one of the best movies of the year, 2026. I know it's going to start it soon. I think he should definitely win some awards because that whole movie was really on his back. He is like hard carrying that movie, but also not only him, everyone else in it. Everyone else is acting like that's their last film. It's fantastic. The level of story, the level of acting, the level of passion that was put into Marty Supreme. You can tell that they had a vision, they had an idea, and they went for it. Incredible work. One thing that I really loved about Marty Supreme is like, for me, the story was about like sacrifice. It was about like how bad do you want it. Marty Supreme, this is where we're going to get into spoilers. He wants to be like the best when it comes to table tennis. He wants to be the best. And the way to do that is to win the tournaments, right? And he's trying to get all this money together. He's trying to, borrow this, do that. That's his life dream, you know. And you see that he goes and he loses, and this starts off this like cascading of events where now there's another tournament coming up, right? And he wants to get in on that. Now you see him trying to borrow money from people. You see him trying to gamble. You see him, one of his bosses owe him money. He literally robs the shop, to get the money. You see how badly he wants this. You see him do a lot of wrong. You see him do some right. At times, I was wondering whether or not he really cares about his friends and his family because of how dedicated he was. Obviously, the end of the movie shows us that he's not really like a bad guy like that. He's just really committed. I would say I don't know if you would if I could consider him like a bad guy or not. Cuz obviously he did a lot of wrong. Like one part of the story that was really interesting to me was when he met the actress and they had their little relationship. He was doing his table interview and he just seen her, he wanted her, he contacted her, the relationship begins, right? Now, from her perspective, she is basically a washed actor. She's washed. Her career is pretty much over. And figuring out why she wanted to be in a relationship with him, like a little, like basically she was cheating on her husband, right? And figuring out why she was risking everything was interesting. But later on, the movie shows us, or they tell us that, like, basically she doesn't really like her husband. She more so just settled down, low key, kind of using him for the money. So you can kind of see where that kind of like would come from. Like, oh, okay, let's cheat, But I just love how even for the side characters, there's so much motive there. There's so much to understand. There's so much to learn. Even when you talk about Marty Supreme, right, the main character, um, his girlfriend, his baby mama, right? Even she's cheating on her husband, right? But you can see at point of times where it seems like Marty really loves her, but then you kind of think maybe not. Maybe he doesn't. But then the most craziest part was when she had the black eye and Marty basically started to protect her, basically started to look out for her. He started to do all of these different things to try to make sure she was safe. And that's what really shows you, like, okay, he does care about her. Kind of in a unique way, but caring is caring, right? Everyone's different. But then when she starts like pretend crying, the makeup starts coming off. And I felt so betrayed just like he did. And that it's moments like that when the movie's great. When you feel exactly how the character feel, for right or wrong, you know? Seeing that like kind of betrayal, but also knowing it didn't come from a bad spot. Like yes, she lied and the husband kind of paid for it, but at the same time she did that because she wants to be with Marty. It's his baby, right? So you can kind of understand where she's coming from as well. And then I also like how dedicated she was to getting the dog, to trying to, help Marty. Just a lot of the movie as a whole. Like I said, I feel like it's about sacrifice. I feel like it's about loss. A lot of people lost. A lot of people got hurt. A lot of people got injured. But I also feel like it's about unity because in that movie, since they all were kind of being put through the ringer, through the dirt, the only thing they can constantly rely on was each other. And seeing that kind of like story where it's like, unison, we got to make it together type, it was really cool. Um, if we bounce back over to Stranger Things real quick, one thing that I want to talk about, obviously everyone's talking about it, is the scene with Will and how he came out. I like the character Will. I think the way that they treated him in the past was very good. Sometimes it wasn't so good, but I liked how in one of the best moments for him recently was the car ride. Right, he obviously is has a crush on his friend, but he knows that he doesn't feel the same way. He knows that if the feeling's not mutual, and you see that car ride where he's like silently crying, his heart is broken, and you really feel for the character. Once again, you talk about connecting, feeling what the character's feeling, right? Where did that go in season five? Season five, the directors were talking about how they spent all of this time, like 12 hours, writing the script for that scene, shooting the scene. They said they even did reshoots. And it ended up being a terrible scene. God awful. The end result is probably the death of Stranger Things. Not only was the placement of that scene so weird because it felt forced, like when you're building up to this climactic moment of the world ending, Vecta is a threat that we have to take care of right now. To then put that to the side, because it did feel like the writers put that whole narrative to the side. They put everything to the side to do the scene, and it just felt like it came out of nowhere. I seen that people on the internet were saying that the way that you could talk about a lot of different ways it could be done, right? But basically, it's like the way that it should have been done is that he should have just said it to his mother, and then someone else should have walked in and heard, and then it would create this like intense kind of situation. It would have been more organic that way. Having like 15 actors all come in, sit down, and watch, you could just tell. First off, that scene also shows you how bloated the cast is, right? All of those people standing around watching. Most of those guys haven't had nothing important to do the whole entire season, right? There's been a lot of time wasting because there's so many characters, but then to have all of those guys come together and listen to the story and then him come out, like, it just was done so poorly. And all of the actors, like their performances, especially in that one scene, very lackluster. The writers, what they've done to this show cannot be overstated. Because also you could talk about it's just so much with that show. The writing, the writers constantly write themselves into a trap, and then they pull some ridiculous garbage to get out of it. And you're like, bro, how did he survive that? Bro, how did the demodogs not see them? How did this? How did that? It just constantly break your immersion because there's a bunch of foolishness happening. And with Marty Supreme, Welcome to Dairy, with some of these other shows, you just don't feel even a slide of that. You really are immersed in the world and the story. You care for the characters. At one point in time, Stranger Things was able to do that. If you haven't seen Marty Supreme, watch it. If you haven't seen A Complete Unknown, watch it. If you haven't seen Welcome to Dairy, watch it. If you haven't seen Nosferatu, Sinners, watch it. Don't watch Stranger Things because you see everyone talking about it. It's a waste. You could watch like maybe season one, season two, but know that it leads to a very, very bad place. Like it's a fall off. It's the boys level of fall off, right? But I just wanted to talk a little bit about those. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.